I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Terence Crawford. I mean, skill-wise, I think he's a better fighter than Canelo.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford didn't hold back when talking about Canelo Alvarez live on air, making it clear why he sees himself as the better fighter. Crawford pointed out that even though Canelo may have more size and power, he believes his own speed, reach, and especially skill give him the upper hand. He confidently said that Canelo's past opponents weren't on his level when it comes to talent and ability, though he made sure to say that with no disrespect. Crawford also responded to those questioning whether he should even be stepping up to fight Canelo, saying that kind of doubt only pushes him harder. He gave credit to Canelo as a great fighter, but made it clear that his own sharp technique and adaptability set him apart. Whether the fight happens or not, Crawford wants everyone to know he's more than ready to take it on.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Don't do
obviously,
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not. Kovalev.
Kovalev was older. He does. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of power, but all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is night and day.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo?
Tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more. Try to get the fight even more. And I'm watching them, I'm like, man, I can beat this dude. I've been fighting people bigger than me all my life, and I always came out on top. You gonna get hit. It's a fight. He gonna get hit too. It'll be good.
Jeff Mayweather gave his take on a potential clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, pointing out how their fighting styles are very different and what Crawford would need to do to win. According to Mayweather, Crawford has the edge when it comes to skill, but Canelo dominates his weight class, making the challenge even tougher. For Crawford to win, he'd need to fight nearly flawlessly. One important thing Mayweather mentioned is that both men are getting older, and at this point in their careers, it's hard to tell when either might start to fade. Both are still considered top pound-for-pound fighters, but whoever is closer to their prime could have the edge. Even a slight decline in sharpness from either man could make all the difference in what's expected to be a very close contest.
Terence Crawford. I mean, skill-wise, I think he's a better fighter than Canelo, but Canelo is also a great fighter but he owns that weight class that he's in. So, I would just say that I think that Crawford has to fight almost a perfect fight to win, and take advantage of Canelo's mistakes.
Mayweather laid out a clear path Crawford could take to win, use his advanced skills, and take advantage of Canelo's mistakes. But he also recognized that this might be one of those extremely close fights. Crawford could edge out a win by decision, or just as easily come up short by a narrow margin. Moving up in weight is a major challenge for Crawford, but if he can keep his speed and accuracy intact while absorbing Canelo's power, he's got a real shot. At the end of the day, it'll all come down to execution. Canelo's experience fighting at higher weights gives him a size and strength advantage, but Crawford's ring intelligence and ability to adjust could tip the scale. If this fight happens, fans are in for a real treat, a high-stakes matchup where Crawford would need to outthink and outbox Canelo across all 12 rounds to come out on top.
Both guys are aging, and you never know. You never know when they're going to show their age. So it could be either one of them that does that. But I mean, I just lean toward Crawford because dude has so many skills. And I mean, I just see that him possibly winning the fight by decision, but could also lose a close decision.
Teddy Atlas offered an interesting take on the potential fight between Crawford and Canelo, focusing on boxing history, where smaller, more skilled fighters have sometimes beaten bigger, stronger ones. He noted that a lot of fans are starting to believe that Crawford might be that rare smaller fighter who can take down a top-level bigger opponent, something that used to happen more often when catchweights were common. Atlas even questioned whether people were thinking about Canelo's size the wrong way, instead of viewing it as a huge problem for Crawford. He suggested maybe Crawford's brain, speed, and slickness could be the key. Could he be too sharp, too smart, and too fast for Canelo to use his strength effectively? That, according to Atlas, is what boxing is really about, not brute strength, but the ability to hit without getting hit.
We believe we had the Crawford. It looked like we had the Crawford. We were talking about that. Can a really great small guy beat a really good big guy? You know, we were getting into that mind frame again. Some people were saying, "Oh, Canelo's too big. Forget it." But we were getting into the right mind frame, the right with this great sweet science, with this sport that goes back longer than any other sport in the world, where catch weights used to be in the 20s to 30s. Little guys beat big guys, and it wasn't that unusual. So we were starting to get into that frame of thinking. Okay, can this great guy Crawford, can he, instead of looking at it as a disadvantage that Canelo is so big?
Atlas used a strong example to drive his point home. He said boxing shouldn't always be like a bullfight where the matador always wins. Sometimes the bull outsmarts the matador, even if it's rare. That's what makes this matchup exciting. People are beginning to think it's actually possible. Still, Atlas couldn't hide his frustration with the sport. He hinted that just when boxing finally builds real buzz around a big fight, something always seems to mess it up. He didn't get into specifics, but his words reflected how boxing's long history of missed opportunities and behind-the-scenes issues often keeps great matchups from happening.
That maybe he'd be too smart, too slick, too quick, you know what I mean? Too special in those areas, not to allow Canelo to use his size and his counterpunching and everything else. And that's what the sweet science is about. You know, it's not supposed to be just about, letting a bull run out into the bull ring and then wait until the matador puts a spear in. It's supposed to be about the bull actually having a chance to outslick the matador, which don't happen too often. So now we were starting to get into interesting grounds. Okay, people were buying into it. Okay.
Conor Benn weighed in on the Crawford versus Canelo showdown, pointing out how close and unpredictable the fight could be. Ben believes Crawford has the tools to beat anyone from 154 to 160 pounds because of his elite skills, sharp thinking, and ability to adapt. But facing Canelo is a whole different test. Unlike most fighters, Canelo isn't just strong. He's skilled, experienced, and has faced the best of the best. Ben made it clear. While Crawford usually has the edge in that weight range, Canelo's combination of talent and toughness makes him a unique threat. Canelo has proven he can handle quick, technical fighters and still change a fight with one big punch. Crawford, on the other hand, doesn't rely on power. He wins with precision, strategy, and fight smarts. That's what makes this matchup so exciting. It's not just about who hit harder, but who can out...
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Canelo. Yeah.
Oh, Canelo. I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Joe Rogan spoke highly of Saudi Arabia's role in boxing right now, especially praising Turki Al-Sheikh for helping bring major fights to life, ones that fans have been waiting years to see. Rogan said Saudi Arabia has pushed the sport forward by making the big matchups happen, cutting through usual barriers like promotional problems or network politics. He also gave his take on Crawford versus Canelo, saying he truly believes Crawford can beat Canelo, and he's not worried about the difference in weight. In Rogan's eyes, Crawford is so skilled that it cancels out any size issues. For Rogan, boxing isn't just about being big and strong. It's about being smart, technical, and precise. Crawford checks all those boxes. He's shown again and again that he can figure out any style, stay one step ahead.
When you look at the elite of the elite boxers, to a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined. Yeah. And they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing. And the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3-weight classes. I think he can beat Canelo.
I think he can too.
Eddie Hearn opened up about the challenges behind getting the Crawford versus Canelo fight signed, pointing to scheduling as a major hurdle. He explained that while both sides had reached an agreement, it couldn't be finalized for May because Canelo wanted to stick with his traditional Cinco de Mayo fight weekend. With limited opponent available, Canelo decided to focus on becoming undisputed instead. Hearn said if Canelo enters a Crawford fight, already holding all 4 belts at 168, it would make that bout even more historic. It would be a chance for Crawford to go after his 3rd undisputed championship, something that would put him in the history books and truly cement his legacy in the sport.
I think one of the issues around the whole situation was they'd agreed the Crawford fight, but they hadn't agreed a May fight, and Canelo wanted to fight in May. And there aren't really a lot of options, but by beating Skull, you can become undisputed. And I feel like the fight with Crawford as an undisputed fight is pretty cool because Crawford's undisputed at 47 and 40, and he could become a 3-division undisputed champion.
My good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring. I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that anything can happen in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out. You know what I'm saying?